This is Drag Race. Season 11, Episode 6, The Draglympics. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty. This was Episode 6, so I think this is about the halfway point. That's what I'm guessing. We started the episode with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 11 queens. So we are still really early on, but you're starting to see some ups and downs. So coming into this episode, we had Raja had been skirting in Safe for the bottom, so that would be someone that would be pretty suspect. So yeah, so she'd do really well this week to stay. I guess we'll see how that happens. Anyway, Evie, I like her, but I think knowing her constant pain, I kind of give her a little bit of grace on this because she's just really kind of on people. I think it would serve her better. So I've said this before, which is Drag Race is not only a competition for $100,000 at the end, it is also a competition for America's heart, because you directly have a way for people to cash in afterwards, like many reality shows, like things like, what's that one, Survivor. You win, everyone loves you, you just start a whole new career to use it. But if you're something like Top Chef, or Project Runway, where you have a product, people can go to your website and buy stuff. I think drag, more than anything, directly can cash in, because people go and they follow you on Twitter, on Instagram, and then also you get to go on tour. Now, what I mean by that is going on tour and being cast for stuff to a certain degree has to deal with likability and people's ability to work with you. Now, I'm no drag expert. I've certainly never worked on a drag show, so I don't know, but I think they could benefit a little. Evie could benefit a little bit from being a little easier. I think she would benefit a little bit more from being like, well, it's up to you. The judges said their deal. It's up to you. Instead, she's a little bit like, no, you need to change. Now, that being said, I don't mind it. I mean, she's saying all the same stuff I'm thinking. The judges are giving you critiques over and over again. You gotta listen. And they're like, oh, well, you always do spooky. Yeah, and it's gonna bite her in the butt if she doesn't change. Although I will say the T-Rex wasn't particularly spooky. And then this week, gosh, that's weird. I don't have notes on her. Anyway, oh, she was an old lady, so she wasn't spooky, but she wasn't glamorous. So it's kind of like a sideways step. Anyway. They do a workout video with Connie Love, who is not someone I know. It's such a weird, it's kind of in a way a weird, one of the things that I heard Jerry Seinfeld say on Comedians in Cars with Coffee, or one of his documentaries, is that you never want to be funnier off stage than on stage. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be funny off stage, but the idea is that whatever you have in real life, you should be able to bring it to the stage. It's really important. And I think that's what we're seeing in a lot of the drag queens, the disconnect, is that they're really fun and enjoyable, but they're having a hard time connecting with that on stage. But they're getting better, so we'll get there. So first of all, can we talk about Shangela for the Little, I think it's called Little, the movie commercials. Loved it. Shangela's a great example of someone who has technically not won Drag Race, but has totally won Drag Race. You know what I mean? Manila's another. These are people who were able to showcase what they could do. Shangela was robbed. I like Trixie. I wanted Trixie to win. But if Trixie won, it should have been Shangela in second place. That's my opinion. And Shangela was robbed by not having the opportunity to go to the end. I think it hurt Trixie, because if Shangela had gone to the end and Trixie had won, there'd be no question. But instead, because everyone's so upset about Shangela being out, same with Manila was knocked out early, and so it kind of undermines. Not that I like the winners, but my point is, you can absolutely be a winner in life and not win RuPaul's Drag Race, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the show. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit off key. They do the thing. They do. It's kind of funny because there's nothing. They just sort of dressed up and then interacted. Now, maybe drag shows, from what I understand, have a lot of that, so it is a useful skill. But it's a little harder to quantify. But we get out of it a carry and plastique. Now, the reason I talk about being funnier on stage or being funnier off stage than on stage, is that I find Plastique really interesting, but it is not fully coming through on stage. And I wonder if that isn't a little bit of the Chad Michaels effect. Was it Chad Michaels? Anyway, I'm sorry. A little too polished, which means you have a look, you go for it, and what we need on stage to do it is a little bit of what Ivy's bringing, which is like personality. Brooklyn Heights is an amazing example of someone who the runway is their performance, and you get a little bit of what they're going for. I'll get to that soon. So Acaria and Plastique win. They get to pick their teams. They're doing the Draglympics, which is like fanography, Vogueography, all that kind of stuff. So it's another dancing lip sync challenge, which I feel like this whole season has been like, how many different ways can we make the main challenge be about performing? Which is drag, I get it, but lip sync, acting, dancing. And I go, is that normal? And I'm trying to like remember, but anyway, Vanjie has an exact perfect breakdown. I like Vanjie. I don't think it was contrived, but I think it's a way of showing your vulnerability in a way that the audience goes, oh, you know, because they talk about, and it's very realistic. We all know, came in with a ton of expectations. She left last season, Miss Vanjie, 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 and was brought back. And now she has all these expectations. Everyone's like, yes, Miss Vanjie. And she feels like she's fallen. I don't feel like she's failing. She has not won a challenge or a mini challenge. She has been consistently interesting. One thing she doesn't know is how often and how awesome her talking head interviews, which is like, it doesn't relate to the competition except for our hearts. So when Miss Vanjie goes in and makes these kind of snide comments and stuff, and they're funny, that's winning over the everyone's hearts. So anyway, Evie talks more about her body. I've seen on Twitter people talking about like, oh, I'm sick of all these sob stories. And it's like, what do you want? Do you want a show where every person comes out and goes, yes, I come from a middle-class family that has always been supportive. I've never struggled. I have great health. Thank you for being here. No, most people, if you really talk to them, if you've ever seen Humans in New York, you know that people carry around a lot of things that they don't talk about, that you don't know about. Chronic illnesses, injuries, tragedies. They've lost close family members. They've had addiction. This is part of life. This is stories. Absolutely keep it. I want to hear it. I mean, I was sitting there staring at her head going, what is with her skin? And then she talks about her disease, and I go, oh, I can literally see it. I can see what you're talking about. I think I know someone with it. I've certainly heard of it before. And I really feel for her. I have bad feet, nothing in relation to her, but my knees and hips ache. It makes my ankles a little wobbly, and my feet will just throb and keep me up at night because it's just enough annoying. And I don't have chronic pain. I wouldn't describe myself as with chronic pain or chronic illness or any of that. I'm just saying that even that small thing of me having bad feet affects my life. So how much more would it be if all of your joints? And this is, you know, I hope and pray, talks about how her career will end in the way that she's doing it now. I think, I'm certainly not a everything happens for a purpose, but I am a no matter how bad, good can come from it. There's a way that, I won't say making lemons out of lemonade, but there's an opportunity that because of this, as her disease progresses, she might be pushed into trying something that no one else has done, and could be incredibly successful at it. That's my hope for her, because you can already kind of see the difficulties. So I don't mind that. Takistan, I didn't think Silky was that hot, but otherwise they like killed it. Evie was a little sloppy in some of her moves, but no one else was doing them. So it's kind of like, so when I was watching, I was like taking notes, and I was like, oh, this is the other team. Man, they're pretty even. Then I realized it was all one team, and then it was the other team. The other team didn't do, I would say they did average, but the first team did so amazing that I was like, Oh boy, like, and they agreed because they didn't even deliberate. They just were like, you're the winning team, and Ikaria, you win. So Ikaria was someone on my list who was middling. I mentioned it a couple episodes ago. It was kind of middling, hadn't hit, had been high the first week and then safe, and then the bottom six. I kind of ignored when they were in that bottom six because it was one whole team. So safe, safe, safe. Oh, and now a win. So, but 2 weeks ago when we were safe, I was like, okay, they, you know, Icaria's kind of on this chopping block, and was kind of, I think at that point was pretty even with Raja. And so I was like, okay, and what you're seeing is this, which is Raja sliding and Icaria to me is catching on. Love the big hair. I'm a fan of this hair that's just like people on Dallas, on the show Dallas, wouldn't be able to get away with because it's just so impactful. I am interested in bigger and realer and bigger than life. When I say realer than life, I mean like all the stuff about life, but more so it's the same when you write. You don't want realistic dialogue. You want realer than real dialogue. Better than reality. I want hair that's better than reality. And I'm not saying that you can't. That's why I get away with the bald queen. Because it's better, it's bigger, and it's more. So anyway, I love the winners. I loved all the winners. I thought they were great. Send them off, okay? As far as the outfits go, I have a problem with Silky's outfits. So they're either a dress or pantsuit. They're just really body conscious. I don't have any problem with the fact that she's wearing body conscious clothes. It's just a matter of, let's see something different. Let's see something that's got volume in areas, or a corset or something different. That's for me. Brooklyn was a great example with that really exaggerated walk, which is to make the Evie and Brooklyn both have that, which is the runway as performance. It's not just a pretty outfit going down, which is where I think, not that I wrote Icarus for Plastique, not that Plastic needs my advice, but I felt like if she could have done that runway and then thrown in some personality, I think they would have just all over themselves for how amazing she was. Sugar was totally She-Ra. Vanjie, I kind of get the criticisms. Oh gosh, my tummy hurts. And they agreed with me. Ikaria got the win. Plastic needs to turn the volume up. Raja has a pantsuit. Now about the dance-off. So Scarlett and Raja did a dance-off. People are pissed that Scarlett went home. My initial reaction was, I think she should have gone home. Should have been on the chopping block for a while. But I am curious to know why she went home over Raja. Raja has more in the bottom. Scarlett, I thought, did a better performance. Do you think it's conspiracy theory? Do you think there's something we didn't see? Hit me up in the comments.